Hello for week 10. We are back here, missing a man off the tripod, but we will be able to hold things up tonight. Jim, how you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. Pretty excited for my best ball teams after the fucking nuclear explosion that was Jamar Chase that just happened in this fucking game. Um,
Unbelievable.
yeah, pretty wild shit. Um, Justin Tucker missed an extra point, so that's good. Yeah, I'm doing great. This weekend coming up, I think is we got some good games like the slate, like what it offers, and yeah, I'm feeling cautiously optimistic. I'll say about this weekend.
Yeah, I'm coming off my worst weekend altogether if you encapsulate college and NFL. Just nothing worked. But you have those. And it sucks always too when you have like good lineups, right? And then Chris Olave goes down right away.
Oh,
And
dude, that's just the
it just
worst.
your whole lineup's just kind of cooked. You're like just praying for a min cash at that point, and
Yeah,
just wasn't quite there. But we had some good calls last week. Mainly your boy Herbert was like the only few lineups that I did win some money in. So let's jump to it. We got a nice little 10 gamer this week.
yeah,
So not quite as outrageous as the last few weeks, but up top, we've got a few high-priced quarterbacks, but overall, yeah, I think there's some guys, at least for me, up top, in the middle, and down low that I have a little interest in. So, where are you going up top here?
yeah. I'm just gonna keep playing Josh Allen until he stops doing Josh Allen type things.
Yeah,
If he keeps playing like this, I know that Lamar's playing pretty well this year, but Josh Allen's gonna win the MVP. Um, he's just absolutely smashing every single night,
yeah,
every single week. He's the guy. They're playing the Colts. The Colts are not good.
no,
I
especially their
like,
defense.
yeah. I mean, Sam Darnold tried to keep them in that game last week, and their defense is just really, really bad. So yeah, it's going to be Josh Allen for me up top. What about you?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with it whatsoever. I think I played them last week, obviously after our show. Uh, the Shakir lineups, did really well. I tried to get a
Yep.
little cute in a few of them and go Coleman. He busted, and so I'm with you. I like Josh Allen. I also have some interest here in Jalen Hurts. Like, I'm obviously one of the biggest Eagles haters there is, but there's just no denying he's playing really good ball. The offense is starting to really hum, and now they get Dallas, who can't stop anybody.
Right.
And you got this game indoors. I believe it's in Dallas, right?
Yeah, it's in Dallas.
So my only fear with this one, and probably similar for the Josh Allen one, I guess, is like, can Dallas keep up with Cooper Rush now running the ship? You know what I mean? So I don't know. I like both of those guys. I'll have some shares, but as always, like, I'm going to kind of stick with my plan and keep playing kind of in this middle to low tier for quarterbacks for the majority of my lineups this week.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Going down here into the mid range, into like the sixes.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, I just think Purdy is the easy one, easy click here.
yeah,
6,500. He's going to have basically the entire complement of everybody back.
yep.
Everyone thinks that McCaffrey is just going to, hey, it's just going to be McCaffrey. They're just like, they're not just going to give him a full workload right out of the
No,
gate, right? Um, but they probably are going to do some things to allow him to kind of get back into the offense. They're going to throw him the ball a little bit.
yeah.
Jennings is back this week as well. We've got Pearsall, who looked good before the bye. You've got Kittle healthy now.
Debo's
So a lot.
healthy,
Debo's healthy. Well, maybe.
maybe.
I feel he just like permanently practices with the non-contact blue jersey on now.
Yeah.
I don't. So, but
No, I'm
he's
with you.
got
I
his
think
full
just even
complement back.
the presence alone of McCaffrey should, bring some more guys a little bit like more towards stopping that run, which is where Purdy
Yeah,
has excelled in the past. And I'm with you. His safety blanket's back, right? Just dumping little balls off to McCaffrey in the backfield or out into the flat will be big for him. So I think this is a pretty good spot.
yep,
Um, I also like Sam Darnold here, 6,200. Obviously, the Vikings gets this Jacksonville team who once again just really can't stop anyone. I know it was an insane play, but you have guys backwards 360 hurdling people on their defense. Like, so
That's pretty embarrassing.
Vikings have been pretty freaking good all year, and I'm just going to keep riding it. Jacksonville really stopping them here, to be honest.
No, I'm with you there. I've got quite a bit of interest in Russell Wilson at 5,900.
All right, so I had him as like a star next to his name. Okay, so that's good that you're on him because I had some interest.
Yeah, I mean, I like both of those guys right there. I like Bo Nix and Russell Wilson, but like I think that they're going to have to throw the ball a little bit in order to keep up. And I think he's got at 5,900, he's got a similar, projection to what Josh Allen has. So, that 25 to like 27 range, I think. And if you could pay, almost $2,000 less and get that same kind of production, it's a very simple stack too. Like you don't need to get weird. You just stack him with Pickens and then like that's it, right? Like you don't have to like, well, which guys are gonna be, right? So yeah, I'm definitely gonna be playing some Russ, especially at like 2% ownership. Like I'll take some shots on that for sure.
I think that's solid. I have interest. 2 more guys down here. This one's going to be a little bit gross, but he's been playing better. I think this is a good spot, a sneaky spot for Aaron Rodgers here.
Man.
Listen, they looked better 2 weeks ago or whatever they played on Halloween night. Both Devontae and Garrett Wilson. It's again very easy stacking pair there, right?
My only problem, Vinny, is that the stack is just so ridiculously expensive.
It is.
And I just don't know if it's worth it. Like, I don't know.
It is, but it's going to be different, right? And if the Jets coming off of a long break here can have their stuff together, again, it's an indoor game playing Arizona, who I don't think is very good. Like they've just, in my opinion, gotten
the Jets should win. Well, my biggest issue is that I think that the Jets should win this game, and so I don't know if Aaron Rodgers gonna do. Because I looked at this too, and I was what ultimately drove me off it is I would rather just play Breece Hall and then nothing else.
So I'm right there with you. But looking at it, like we talked about it a little bit with some of these other running backs last week, like there are just games when they just do not use Breece Hall. I mean, it's the Kenneth Walker thing where it's like, we talked about it last week with him. You get to half and he's got like 4 touches, and so I'm just worried that if Rodgers starts feeling it, like he's just gonna he's running this offense now, So
true.
I'm gonna take some shots, especially again, like you said, it's gonna be a weird build, especially if you double stack it with Devontae and Garrett Wilson. But I think that's gonna be a very low owned opportunity there. So
I think that's the only way you can go about it, or if you want to get weird and do just Rodgers and Breece Hall, and maybe he like scores a long screen or something like that. I just think that you have to.
If you're going to go for it, you go for it. I think.
Yeah. I mean, because those guys both are going to be extremely owned. So, like Garrett Wilson's 20%, Devontae Adams is 20%.
But is Rodgers coming in at all? Like is
12%.
So this is actually going to be a fairly popular stack then.
Yeah, it is.
Interesting. Okay.
So, but it doesn't mean you can't play it, because I don't think that most people that are playing it will play all 3 of them together. So if you are going to play it, I think you just have to play all 3 together.
Do you think in that situation, like you try to game stack it because you're hoping that like for him to hit ceiling for all 3 of those guys to get there, like you need Arizona to score some points?
Yeah, probably.
So you probably have to come back with Harrison or Trey McBride or maybe Connor.
I think I would prefer McBride. Connor is a little injured, but it was just like a finger injury. Like he's going to be fine. He'll play.
Maybe this is one I'll just full game stack this thing. Go McBride and Harrison back, and you just hope that this thing pops.
Yep.
So, okay. Any interest in your boy Herbert again this week?
Yeah, the price is just wrong.
Same here.
There's no chance. There's no reason he should be 5,200. he's cheaper than Derek Carr. I mean, that's just a flat out misprice, right? What are we doing here?
Yeah.
He's $100 more than Cooper Rush.
Yeah,
Okay, and
that's insane.
Tennessee's strength is their run defense.
Right.
Okay, they can actually stop the run a little bit. So, what have we seen after the bye from the Chargers? Kind of what I told everybody week after week. Just keep playing these guys. It's an easy stack too. You can either pick one of McConkey or Johnston, or you can play them both.
Yeah.
I
The
didn't
good thing
play
is they're
enough
not
Johnston.
expensive together. You can
100%. It's a cheap stack. And that's what originally led me to just go, okay, well, I can play this and then I can just go play Brees Hall.
right.
Right. So like that's kind of how I landed on that. So yeah, I mean, Herbert's getting a little bit of ownership at 11%. Doesn't matter. It's just
Yeah.
way too cheap.
Yeah, I totally agree. You got anybody else? We're pretty in lockstep in quarterbacks this week. You're not going to dabble a little bit with little Mac Jones down there at 4,400 or nothing like that?
I mean, is he actually going to start?
It's leaning that way, but it's not totally confirmed yet. I mean, if Lawrence doesn't play, like he's going to start. So
I just don't know. If I would rather just play Herbert at 5,200 and then go from there.
yeah, I think I'm with you. I think, I like to get crazy in some of these lineups, but at the same time, I talk about it all the time. You've got some spots here where we could see some serious points this week. Josh Allen, the Niners fully healthy, the Eagles in a good spot. Like if two of these guys go off, Mac Jones is not getting you there probably. So
yeah, Atlanta in a really good spot. We didn't really talk about them, but
Minnesota, shit, we just brought them up. So I'm just worried if you see multiple teams throw 30 spots up this week, which I think is going to happen. You're in a lot of trouble. So, okay. Yep. Running backs up top, Saquon leading the charge up there. Then we've got Bijan. I don't have the full list in front of me. But
so we've got Saquon, Kamara, McCaffrey, and Bijan 7,700 and up.
Well, first off, let's lead with that. Well, I guess, is there any major outrageous ownership that's coming in? Okay, what's that looking like?
Kamara's looking anywhere between 29 to 36%.
Jeez Louise. Oh my God.
And then Bijan is going to be probably in the mid 20s, it looks like.
Okay.
Saquon 9%, McCaffrey 13%.
What are you doing with McCaffrey?
Oh, I'm for sure going to play him.
Okay. Because I'm in two camps right now where you would think logically that they are going to be somewhat cautious with him. But we've seen Kyle Shanahan, if they're healthy and suiting up, McCaffrey would not shock me to touch the ball like 25 times on Sunday. Like Kyle's just going to ride him if he's in. So,
but I think that they're just going to reserve him for premium situations too.
I totally don't think that at all.
So
Jim, I think you're gonna see the halfback dives on 3rd and 14. He's gonna just do it.
Well, I'm saying that if he doesn't do that, he can still get there because they're gonna use him in the gold zone, the 30 and in, right? They're gonna use him in goal to go situations. They're gonna use him in premium passing down situations, right? So the touches that he does get, even if he doesn't get the volume that we think, I think that you have to play the guy because he has legitimate 30-point upside. The reports kind of came out finally today that he definitely could have played against Dallas.
Yeah, that was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and so he practiced in full,
he's been practicing in full for 2 weeks now. So
yeah, so he's gonna be he might be a little tired at times. Tampa, it's not going to be too hot or anything like that since it's November. So I wouldn't anticipate any cramping or anything. But yeah, I'm definitely going to play him.
Saquon 9%. I think you got to keep rolling the dice and spots on him where you can.
He's too cheap. He's getting the type of usage that McCaffrey gets.
Yeah.
There's nobody else playing for them. Kenneth Gainwell comes in when Saquon needs a water break. But Saquon should be closer to 8,800. He should not be. He's mispriced by probably about $500, I think.
Yeah, and the only concern with him is again just getting touchdowns, pulled away from the tush push, or AJ Brown, who just decides to nuke, one day, and he just,
Yep.
It doesn't quite get there, but like you can't really plan for that. Obviously, that's just an outlet that could happen. So,
Yep.
okay, Bijan, Brees, Taylor, kind of in this next range here. Dobbins, what are you thinking around here?
Yeah, I have the most interest in
Or Kamara,
this
I
like
guess.
7,000 range in Brees Hall and James Cook are my two guys.
Yeah,
James Cook had a little bit of a dud last week, didn't really do anything. But like that's not what we're shooting for here. He's a guy who has the type of upside that we've seen multiple times this year.
yeah.
And I'm more than happy to go to him at 7,000. I'm even fine with just playing Josh Allen and Cook together if you want to. But I like adding Shakir there if you want. But him and Brees are my two favorite options in this
Yeah.
range.
Okay. Yeah, I understand the Brees call. I mean, he let a lot of people down, and just when people, just like anything in DFS, the minute people jump off somebody is when you should buy. And he's
Yep.
in a good spot here. So, I have a little interest in Taylor. I mean, I think I'm a little concerned that they kept I kept seeing Trey Sermon in every time I would turn around and look at the TV. I'm like, what is going on here?
Yep.
But there's that. I'm with you. I'm a little bit more in the passing game than J.K. Dobbins. So, yeah, I think I'm
Yep.
kind of with you there. I really like Bijan, and I really like Cook as well.
Yep.
In the 6Ks, I mean, I'm going to keep just continuing to play Aaron Jones, very similarly. He's a massive part of that offense.
You and everybody else this week.
I mean, dude, he's just a good spot. He's too cheap as well.
It's a really, really good spot. I'm gonna be curious since Sam Darnold was fairly high owned, and now Aaron Jones is gonna be around 30%. I'm curious to see what Jefferson is gonna be at when we go look at the wide receivers, because if Jefferson is just the 5 to 10% owned, I'm just gonna play him everywhere.
Yeah.
And I won't play Aaron Jones. I'll just play Jefferson literally everywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think Aaron Jones is fine down here. I personally in the sixes, I would like to go to Ramondre Stevenson, just continuing to get it done every single week. I don't know if anybody else watched Chicago's performance last week, but their run defense is not very good. You guys had guys like Amari DiMercado running for just almost 100 yards on them. I mean, I think the Cardinals ran for almost 300 yards on the Bears.
Yeah.
That's
Pretty
bad.
ugly.
And even, when Ramondre is not getting there in the the volume or the high stats, he gets all the volume, right?
Yeah.
And another touchdown last week, 2 weeks in a row now we're in the 20 point plus range.
And not to go on a tangent, but it's really helped with Drake May coming in, who's a actual
100%.
quarterback, and the team actually looks a little better. And it's okay, we got a little something here. Teams can't just put 9 guys in the box versus Jacoby Brissett,
And last week, is kind of what I'm talking about. The week before, 20 carries, 2 touchdowns. Yeah, last week, 10 carries for 16 yards, but he got a touchdown, so he gets all the red zone work. Then he had 5 catches for 38 yards and a touchdown. Okay, so he's getting used in the passing game.
Yeah.
The last few weeks, 5 catches, 3 catches, 2, 4, 4. So he's getting solid work in the passing game, right? So at 6,400 again, I think he's a little bit mispriced as well. He should be a little bit higher for the type of usage that he's getting.
Yeah.
So I will definitely have quite a bit of Ramondre this week.
Cool. 2 guys that I'll have splashes of for sure. Very similar. I know they use Jaylen Warren, but Najee is the clear back in Pittsburgh, and
yeah,
their offensive line looks good. Russ has the offense at least functional and running it as an operation finally. 6,200, very similar. He gets all the goal line work, obviously. Yeah. So he's looked good. And then I have a little interest in Rico Dowdle. Look, if Dallas wants any shot to keep this game close, they have to find some kind of running game. I cannot imagine. I know they like Cooper Rush, but they're going to come out and like try to get into a shootout with these guys. That just won't
Yeah,
be very good for Mike McCarthy. So
no,
Dowdle looked pretty good last week. He's looked pretty good when he does get the touches. At 6,100, I think he could do worse. But
yeah,
that's pretty
I'm
much
with
it,
you.
man, for me. Like, there's just so many good plays like above that
Yeah.
I don't see any route for like a 5K guy who's going to get like third down work to get there. You know what I
Right.
mean? So
I'll definitely have some interest, even if Brian Robinson plays and playing some Eckler again,
Eckler.
just because of his price and the usage he gets in the passing game. I mean, it's just
And in this
abs.
matchup, right, against Pittsburgh's run D,
Yep.
like they're probably not going to just try to run between the tackles, I would think. But
Nope. So
that's a good call.
Four targets last week. I played a lot of Eckler last week.
He looked good.
Obviously, he looked great. I mean, 17 points last week with no touchdowns. Like,
Yeah.
even, or I'm sorry, he did have a touchdown. But even without that, at 5,800, all I really need is probably 12 points from him, and I'm
Right.
happy. Anything more than that is kind of gravy. So that's
Yeah.
probably, I don't think I don't have a lot of other people like way down the list here. That's probably my lowest. I'll be going at it running back. Not a lot of value running back this week. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Okay. Well, we talked about, I mean, a lot of these high price receivers, obviously Jefferson, great spot. We talked about Garrett
Nobody.
Wilson, Pickens, Adams, just in like game stacks and stuff. But anybody else like above 7K that you're just really on that won't be part of
Well,
stacks?
now looking at this ownership, I don't understand why Terry McLaurin is getting the sort of ownership disrespect that he's getting. Him, and then I mean he's a little bit cheaper, but him and Pickens are just on the outside of Wilson, Devontae Adams, and Debo, all who are going to be in the mid-20s of ownership, and McLaurin and Pickens are going to be 2 to 3% owned.
Who's going to be in the 20s? Like the highest owned guys?
Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, Debo.
Wow. Okay.
Justin Jefferson, 10%.
Okay. Interesting. This might
So
be a sneaky spot too, like you said, just to get different here. I like that call quite a bit for those 3% guys. I think everyone
well,
just looks at Pittsburgh's D and they're like, nope, automatic scratch off. And it's like Washington's maybe been one of the most consistent, or definitely one of the top 5 most consistent, like good offenses week to week. Like they're not going to just get like blown out here.
I mean, Pittsburgh's D is fine, but like it's not anything like overly special this year. Like, let's
Especially
not
with the
like,
pass D, like it's the run D, you can't really run versus
yeah.
the
So
Steelers.
like,
So
they do a good job of getting the ball out quick, right? It's just like one of those things where it's like, why are we not playing some of these guys? And then like, why? I get it, he's expensive, but like, I would much rather find the money to play Justin Jefferson than some of those expensive running backs.
yeah.
Or you could play Jefferson and a fairly expensive running back if you play the Herbert stack, because it's
Hmm.
just like fucking free, and it seems like no one's going to do that.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, Pittsburgh, obviously they have a decent, decent defense, but yeah, I think Terry McLaurin at 7,300 at 2% owned is just absolutely criminal.
Well, it's really the pass rush, obviously, for Pittsburgh in the front 7. But again, like I think I heard this, Washington's got like the number 1 ranked offensive line, or
Yeah,
one of them in the league. So again, this is not going to just be like, oh, Pittsburgh's going to smother these guys, and this game's going to be 9-6 or something.
not at all. Right.
So yeah, I like that call quite a bit. I wanted to get crazy with some CD Lamb just because we've seen backup quarterbacks come in, and it's like I'm just going to throw to CD Lamb 20 times today and like make my bones there, which is what I would do as a backup. But I don't know, man. I think the Eagles defense is starting to kind of like really come on, and Vic Fangio is just going to be like, if
I,
we just
I,
stop CD Lamb, we win this game.
yes, but that was also the plan against the 49ers, and they gave him 17 targets, I think it
I know.
was. And they didn't win, right?
But
But he
he
did
had a pretty
great.
good game. So
Honestly, the more I look at it and like the weirder I want to get with this, I'm fine playing a Lamb, Rush, and Dowdle stack.
yeah, that's what I mean.
I,
I think you could do it, and it's a very, again, easy bring back with Saquon, or I guess you could go AJ Brown or Devonta Smith. But yeah, I'm not opposed to getting a little bit weird on that game.
for sure.
Mid tier. I mean, for me, I really like Brian Thomas and Darnell Mooney here.
Yep.
66, 6,500. I think those guys are just pretty fairly priced, and both of them have had really good years up to this point and have pretty good matchups here, I think. So
Yeah, I think Mooney is just somebody that, Drake London's dealing with this like hip pointer. Um, there's no more
guys have to keep
Lattimore,
firing.
and there's no more Lattimore.
Yeah.
He's been traded. He's no longer there. So I think that this is definitely a spot where Cousins just going to keep firing. Mooney is underpriced. At least he's getting a little bit closer to what he probably should be now, but he should be, I think, as expensive or even a little bit more than Drake London. I'm perfectly fine to play Mooney with you.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm definitely going right back to Shakir at 6,000. He's the volume guy, right?
Yeah.
And on a site like DraftKings, where that's just kind of what we're after, right? Is PPR guys. He doesn't have to score touchdowns in order to really be a fantastic producer, and it shows. He's one of the highest leverage players on this slate, along with Darnell Mooney.
Well, watching their offense, especially last week, they're very much just using him, like an old school, like a Julian Edelman. It's like, hey,
Yep.
let's just get 6 yards here, like a quick little hitter, like let him do his thing, get a second and short, and like they're just running super efficiently. So, and he's, like you said, the guy that, is maybe not the game breaker, but he's going to move the chains a lot.
Totally.
So, I'm with you, lad. We talked about, dude, DeAndre Hopkins is just too cheap. I got to imagine he's going to get a ton of ownership this week. Is he?
Yeah, but so the funny part about it, he's going to be about 16, 17% owned.
Okay.
He's still positively leveraged, which means he's showing up in the optimal about 20% of the time.
It's just a complete mispricing after that game.
Yeah, they played on Monday night. I don't know. I mean, I just don't know how they missed that. He's obviously going to be a very large part of the offense going forward. Now, he is playing Denver, and they do have Surtain. So I might be looking to go elsewhere this week, but it's worth a shot to play him again at 5,300 just because of the price.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Going down a little bit, Jennings is in that spot where like he's going to be involved and he can have a really good game, or he could legitimately just get like one catch for 7 yards.
Yeah.
So I don't know about him, but Quentin Johnson, baby, we've been on that all year long since the summer. He's one of my highest owned best ball guys. Absolutely looked phenomenal last weekend. That's your guy, in my opinion, if you're pairing him with Herbert for sure. Like, totally, he looks so good.
Yeah, I mean, and nobody wants to play him. They keep saying, "Oh, well, he can't keep doing this. He can't keep doing this." Well, like, look, he's absolutely been doing it when healthy.
Dude, he was a top 20 pick, and like some people thought, maybe the best receiving talent coming out of the draft. Like, yeah, he had a rookie year, but like, okay, that doesn't mean the guy's like career's over.
So he's had 2 20-plus point games, and he's priced at 4,900. He's still not even 5,000. He's 4% owned. Like,
and I'm not
what
gonna
else
say
are
he's
you?
Gonna. I'm not saying he's going to go for 20, but he's like legit receiver 1 in that offense.
Yeah, he's $200 more than Jahan Dotson, who hasn't done dick all year.
Absolutely insane.
I mean, it's just like what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
Like what is going on with that? Like, Yeah, I
I'll have
mean,
a ton of them because again, how I kind of look at it, he's not like dirt cheap, but at 4,900, if he doesn't have a great game, it doesn't destroy your lineups either.
100%,
It's not like CeeDee
100%.
Lamb going for like 7 points. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
I'll take some shots there. Down here, Noah Brown, I've got a little interest in.
Yeah,
Again,
it's
if you
fair.
think that for whatever reason, Scary Terry gets kind of bottled up here, like Noah Brown's getting 6-7 targets a game. So
Yeah,
um,
I'm
I,
fine with that.
I have a little Shepherd for Tampa. Him and Baker started to like get a little rhythm going at the end of that game. And we know the Niners' weakness is kind of, it's in that secondary for sure.
Yep.
So I think
Yep.
there's points to be had there. If you think too, the cool thing I like about it a little bit is like thinking about it more. Like the Niners should, rock these guys coming off of a bye, but like
Yep.
Baker will just keep throwing. That guy doesn't care at
100%.
all,
He
which I
does
like.
not stop. Doesn't stop. Just balls to the wall. Let's go for it.
Yeah. So Shepard, anyone else down here, dude? I mean, I've got like a few names, but it's just not good. Like it's no one I'm willing to like, stand on the table for this week.
Yeah, I like Shepard. I think it's fine to go back to Troy Franklin. If you go back and watch that game last week, Bo Nix overthrew him on 2 different touchdowns.
That's like the third time this year.
I know, but at like 1% owned at $4,000, like if I know that he's getting the opportunities to, and he's getting open, and he
Yeah.
was like wide open on one, and then just like NFL style open on the other one. Yeah, that's something I definitely want to get involved with.
Okay.
He's a guy that, yeah, that's going to be good for me.
Cool. Tight ends
Um,
up top, we got Kelsey and Kittle both on here, and then Iron Man Kate Otten at 5,500. Where are we looking up top? What are you liking the most here?
I mean, I really like Kittle this week. Um, he's 5,800. Everybody being back, I think, helps him a lot. I also really, really like Kelsey for some of the reasons that I alluded to earlier
I
with
know.
Surtain and stuff like that. Their linebacking core is definitely the Achilles heel of their coverage unit.
Yeah.
Um,
Division game.
so yeah.
The
So
only thing that I got to go back and rewatch this game. Was it last year when Denver, like at the end of the year, just like completely shut Casey down and everybody was like, what is happening right now? I need to go back and kind of take a look at that game because I'm just curious if they got, is it a matchup problem for KC or did Kansas City just not care like end of the season? But I'm with you. I do have some interest in Kelsey for sure, but I'm just kind of curious about that one.
I mean, they played division opponents well.
Yeah.
I will say that now.
It's becoming real now too, the streak. Like
Yeah,
they are smelling it a little bit. Like they're going to be playing hard. They want this
yeah,
undefeated season.
100%. I think that they could lose this week. I think this is a spot where maybe they could overlook this spot to next week.
Denver's not a bad team.
No, Denver could certainly win this game. So it's in Kansas City though, but
Yeah.
I like Kelsey quite a bit. Um,
I
I
do
would
like that
probably,
number on Denver though.
yeah, I do too. I would probably rather go to McBride over Otten this week. Everyone's just, you know, the Niners have a great safety unit. They've got Fred Warner, who is, including corners, is the highest rated pass defender in the NFL this year. So that could be a problem for Cade Otten.
Yeah.
So I think McBride, especially McBride's only going to be probably 3 or 4% owned. Um, I really like just playing like McBride and Brees Hall as like a skinny stack in that game, and then just kind of going elsewhere.
Okay.
But going down, I have quite a bit of interest in Jake Ferguson. 10 targets
Mm,
last week, 7 catches for 71 yards, 14 points. So
yeah.
at $5,000 for tight end, which has just been an absolute fucking wasteland this year, I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah. I hear that.
Anybody else that you like?
I mean, I'm considering playing some Dallas Goedert just because it gets exposure to that Eagles thing. If I don't have any Saquon or anybody in that game, like the Eagles could put up like 40 points here. So it's very possible. And then I'm gonna go back to him, man. The Saints have nobody. They're going to have Taysom Hill's gonna have a 2-touchdown game. You know it. I know it. Everyone knows it. And again, if Alvin Kamara is going to be 35% owned, like that's the time I'm going to play some Taysom Hill.
Yeah, we did it last week and it worked.
So I'm just going to keep doing it. Like he's 4K. And again, like, yeah, he's got probably a floor of like 6 to 8 points, which whatever. That's what you normally get at tight end anyways. But if this guy goes for like 25 points, you know what I mean? Which is very possible. He could throw a touchdown on Sunday. Like he can do. They're gonna have to use him.
The point is that he's always on the field.
Yeah,
and like it's like some of these tight ends, even like tonight you saw with Gesicki, like he's just not on the field every single play. Like this guy is going to be on the field a lot. Like they're going to hand him the ball. They're going to throw him the ball. Like you said, he might throw a touchdown. So yeah, I'm fine going back to Taysom Hill at 4,000, and nobody is. So
okay, that's pretty much it for me. You know, maybe I'll get weird with some game stacks and stuff like that. Like, but I'm not going to be like actively jamming in or trying to jam in like a 3K tight end or something like that. Like we had Barner last week for Seattle. I was happy to play min price and like move on.
Yeah, he was fine.
And you have any like gross plays down here?
So a guy that's been getting more targets, he's your guy from last year, Kylan Granson on Indianapolis, dude.
I never left. The guy's the man.
I mean, he's not the man. He's your Dancing Rick, okay? Who's not even. He might be Dancing Rick. Might be hanging fucking drywall by now. Or in another dance off with Ben Stiller, but I mean. But that's like, I don't know. That's like, I'm going to really have to like need
how much
that
is he?
money elsewhere. 2,600.
So, but again, at 2,600, like if you play that, and we'll talk about defense next, and let's just say, I'll just go to my pick, the Patriots D at 2,500, like you have so much money to do whatever you want.
There's no reason to play anybody else at defense this week other than the Patriots or the Denver Broncos. There's no other reason.
Love it.
Like
keep that simple then.
Do you realize that like everyone thinks that the Chiefs are this big juggernaut, blah blah blah. Do you know that Daniel Jones? Not. Do you know that Daniel Jones has had more top 12 fantasy quarterback finishes this year than Patrick Mahomes and CJ Stroud combined? Okay,
that's
like
wild.
This offense, they don't care about scoring points. They just care about winning.
Yep.
Okay. Denver has a very good special teams unit. Okay. To me, with defense, I'm with you. It's either the Patriots or it's the Broncos. And there's really nobody else that you can kind of talk me into playing. There's just because there's really not a lot of value there's not a ton of like cheap guys at wide receiver this week. There's not really any super cheap tight ends this week, and there's no cheap running backs. Okay. So like we're gonna have to find value somewhere. So it's just gonna have to be a min price. I mean, you could even play the Jaguars if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Right? Like Sam Darnold throws picks. That's just who he is. That's just what he does, right? So if you want to mix and match down here, the Patriots, Jags, or Broncos, like I'm fine with that. For me personally, it's probably just going to be the Patriots and the Broncos. But I just don't see any reason to play anybody else. Like everyone's playing the Bears at 25%. Why?
I don't understand that. The Bears are not as good as people think. I know everyone's like bashing their offense, but like their defense has been getting rocked.
Did people not watch? Like, do people just play? I'm convinced that so many people play fantasy that just straight up like don't watch football. They just use fucking spreadsheets and nerd out with like algorithms and fucking simulators and like, but like how, even if people are using the Sims, how are you getting the Bears, Vinny, are going to be 25 to 30% owned.
And what's their price?
3,000.
Yeah, there's just no reason for it. Like, pay $100 more and pay whoever's the next,
if you want to pay up for defense, like if you really want to pay up for defense, play $300 more and play the fucking Niners coming off a bye at the Bucks that have no receivers. And
dude, I think the Patriots have a shot to win this game outright.
100%.
So like, I don't understand what's going on here.
Like, not even cover the number, just like win outright.
I know this is crazy. I might throw a Millie shot on the Patriots, like on a Drake May stack. If they're going to be that highly owned, that's insane.
Drake May, Demario Douglas, and Stevenson.
Yeah.
And then just go from there.
Totally. All right. That pretty much wraps it up. In terms of your favorite stack of the week, where are you leaning?
My favorite stack of the week is for two reasons. Number one, it's cheap, and number two, I think it's going to produce. And I'm just going right back to the Chargers. Worked for me last week. Led me to a very nice week. Solid profit. I'm going to be playing. I should have played more Johnston. I didn't play enough Johnston, so I won't make that mistake this week. But yeah, I definitely think that that's going to be my favorite stack of the week. And as far as my bold call, well, I was going to pick some sort of a receiver, but after what Jamar Chase
nothing could be that bold.
I'll say that Ramondre Stevenson goes for 30 this week. How about that?
All right. Yeah, I like that a bit. You've talked me quite a bit more into this, like Stevenson, but possibly even, I know it's gross and I probably won't do it.
I mean, just get real. Like, just play Stevenson, and that's fine.
But I want a little Drake May now too.
I mean, that's fine. You can do that, but I don't think that you need to.
Yeah. I'm going to go homerism here. I do think the Niners come out and absolutely have a good game here against Tampa. Like you said, they're fully healthy. Purdy's going to come out. He's had a chance to get everybody back. They're get on the same page with timing. At 6,500, I think he's got as much upside as anybody here on the slate. And I think he's the one. I think we see. I'll just lead into it. 4 touchdowns for Purdy this week. So I think they come out and I think they just look really sharp and crisp. So,
all right.
But it is Kyle Shanahan, so I reserve the right to change my mind when it's 3-0 entering like halftime. So.
Or when it's 17-0 and Jordan Mason has 2 rushing touchdowns.
Totally.
Or Isaac Guerrero and Kyle Juszczyk have rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. That pretty much does it, dude. Nice and quick in here. I think Joe's the one who usually slows us down. So hopefully, he's on his campaign to make the Raiders great again. And until next time.
It's going to be a hell of a long campaign.
Yeah, poor guy. All right. I'll talk to you later, buddy.
Later.